Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy holidays. 2 weeks before Christmas, at least here when I'm filming this. Let me show you my shirt of the day to be in this holiday spirit. How many people know that quote? By the way, Violent Night is an awesome movie if you haven't seen it yet. Pretty much a combination, without giving spoiler, of Home Alone, Die Hard, Gladiator, Christmas Vacation, Bad Santa. You know, you could see it's an epic movie, at least in my opinion. So check that out. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, though, is kind of a parlay of my previous videos on mistakes that audiophiles make. And this topic today came out of my WhatsApp group as we were discussing listening tests. And it actually, the same day I released my last video on music clips and demo clips, this was kind of another ongoing discussion we've been having. So by the way, if you want to join, if you live in a town like I did early on in my journey, I didn't have many audiophiles to talk to, and there was only print magazines at the time. At least now you can do online. But if you want to get involved with really hardcore audiophiles that know their stuff and enjoy having interaction, I have a WhatsApp group in my membership section. You join in the YouTube, subscribe first, and then the join button should show. I've got not only myself in there where you have daily interaction with me, but also experts in the industry, dealers, and also there's sometimes deals that are offered, like the 3MA guys often have specials that they'll announce to my WhatsApp group at special rates before even the public or eBay. So just that alone may be worth it to you. But really the benefit is having, at least I think, I wish I had in my early journey, the ability to have all these experts and other audiophiles to just enjoy the hobby with on a daily basis, but also bring up topics to get other people's opinions, see other people's gear, see their experiences. It helps your learning curve go so much faster than doing it all on your own. So the topic today kind of came out of that, in that we were talking about differences that you hear and how reliable are those differences. And as I've talked in the past, especially on cables, people argue if it's not blind testable, it's not real. If it's subjective, that's all that really matters. And there's points to each side of the equation. But I wanted to share with you what I think has worked for me in being able to evaluate gear, that where I've got the sweet spot now. Because what you really will find out is no matter how good you think your hearing is, we're all susceptible to certain psychology and biology. And if you study neuroscience, which I've done, almost nobody's immune to placebo effect, confirmation bias. There's other terms that encompass a lot of things. If you're concentrating, in short, on hearing a difference, a lot of times you're going to hear a difference, even if it's not real, and especially if it's cited. And even that difference that you do hear sometimes gets exaggerated when you're in that hyper concentration mode. So you ask yourself, and even in a blind test can be also exaggerating the difference, because again, you're concentrating on hearing a difference. So the macro takeaway that people sometimes don't think about is, whether they heard it blind or subjectively, is that difference really worth the difference? Is it even better? A lot of people like swear, oh, I heard a difference, but is it 100% better than the opposite? Sometimes it's even subjective whether the difference they heard is 100% of a benefit or somewhat of a trade-off. But even among that, like I said, it's exaggerated typically, and we make buying decisions sometimes based on those short excerpts where we're hyper concentrating. And then what happens is you bring the gear home, and over time you realize that difference maybe wasn't as big as you thought, wasn't 100% always a positive. That's why I had those music tracks in the last video. Sometimes it takes, in my case, 50 or more tracks before I get a handle on what the difference is, and whether or not it's meaningful enough or not to buy the gear, especially at the prices that they charge now. So you have to be, again, don't be in this primitive camp of one versus the other, and only those ways work, and whatever your brief synopsis is of a short A/B demo, whether it's sighted or blind, being the end-all be-all. What I do in my evaluation method now, and this is why I don't do many reviews, because it just takes too long, I will do my master playlist, which I put in my last video, I'll play it in the background, loud enough though, but I'll play it in the background while I'm, browsing the internet on my screen here or looking at my phone, and just listen to these songs, which I've heard hundreds of times in the past. But wait until anything that pops out at me that I haven't heard before. The vocals may have less sibilant, or certain detail I may notice that I've never heard before. These are kind of the things that jump out at me even when I'm not paying attention. And what I've learned is that when those details do pop out when I'm not paying attention, those details are much more real and repeatable when then I A/B test on that particular song again. Then I can kind of nail down that, yes, that was a real difference. Whereas sometimes when you're hyper analyzing, those aren't always repeatable over and over. And then when you do try it blind, or you take the gear in and out and back again, sometimes it's not always the same. So you have to always be cognizant of, look, we're not X-Men. Nobody's got perfect hearing, and it's like a robot that can, do things perfectly in a hyper-analyzed short demo. If you want to pretend like that, well, that's great. And then you might as well call Disney and apply for the next Marvel movie where you're an X-Men with your hearing. But the reality is you're only making a fool of yourself and have lack of self-awareness if you think you're not susceptible to certain things. It's much more impressive to me, to people that just don't immediately think, oh, I listened to 5 seconds, I heard the difference, it was clear as day. People that take their time, methodically listen, A/B test back and forth, or sighted blind, or do like I did. And the other thing I do as well, I've complemented listening to music with, is listening to test tones, and just with my ears, not a mic, because I want to hear how each tone sounds to my ears at that listening position. A lot of times, whether it's DSP or a change in gear, that will be noticeable, especially speakers. Sometimes you can hear 20 hertz with some speakers, they're true full range at the listening position in the room. Some of them say they stats go down to 20 hertz or whatever, but you don't hear it. And there's so many songs that don't evidence every frequency. So combining test sweeps of frequency response to your ears, and then doing massive playlists and doing it in a non-hypercritical fashion, is what my methodology has been for analyzing gear. And so I thought I'd share that with you. And then I'm also going to share a couple more playlists that I didn't include in the last one. It's like a heavy rotation of songs that I liked from the early 2010 to 2015 range, of bands that I still to this day are in heavy rotation. That was a great year for creating music. I'll share that with you, as well as my subwoofer tracks for testing that. I didn't include that in my last video. So hopefully you enjoyed. If so, sign up, subscribe, and I'll see you back here soon.